Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We got a pretty serious controversy. One that, alleges me of some illegal action. Illegal stuff like hacking your computers. Now, of course, I'm going to treat this very seriously, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, I'm going to find and talk about the Some Ordinary Gamers ransomware virus. Now, this has actually been using my name to basically claim people are getting hacked, okay? It is stealing people's files under my name and requesting money from people under my name, all right? And I'm going to take this seriously. I'm going to investigate this, and I'm going to make fun of whoever needs to be made fun of. And I wish I could actually chase this legally, to be honest with you. But given where it seems this is leading to, that would be kind of an uphill battle, to be honest, ladies and gentlemen. So let's start from the beginning, okay? So about a year ago, there was a account, Malware Hunter Team, okay? SOGNoWin.exe showed up into the world. So again, it's playing on a lot of intelligence here, okay? The people here are actually researching me. So they know that I don't like Windows. I've made plenty of videos talking about how much I don't like Windows. In fact, I would dare say that switching to Linux is going to be a damn near requirement down the road, at least from my view on the channel. So again, this was a blurb that was going around. Hey, greetings from Mutahar. Your files have been encrypted. Now, legal has told me to tell you I did not hack anyone, okay? Did not happen for me. And of course, this is in response to our good friends at VX Underground, who basically talked about when I had bought an actual hard drive from them, right? This hard drive is a nuclear cyber bomb that contains thousands of computer viruses. I actually made a video on it where I, installed basically every malware on a computer and just let that shit roam pretty unfettered. It was actually scary. Okay, I pretty much nuked a piece of hardware just with this actual drive, okay? Super fun stuff, super awesome video, highly recommend you check it out. But that's not the focal point of today's video. I actually fired up this drive again to see if I could find a sample of this virus for investigation. And unfortunately, this drive was just a little bit too old for it. Now, thankfully, your boy is on a few lists on the internet, okay, alongside the no-fly list. I, ladies and gentlemen, am frankly on a few lists that look into computer viruses, malware samples, and whatnot. So I was able to thankfully dig this thing up in from the ethers of the earth and actually grab it for analysis. So you can see right over here, this virus has received a 10 out of 10 evil score. It's one of the dangerous scores out there. And basically the people who made this have made it under the guise of the Makop ransomware family, okay? Now, for anybody that doesn't remember ransomware, obviously, you know, it's a program you run on your computer, it encrypts every file, and effectively you have to pay somebody Bitcoin or whatever amount of cash that they want so they can send you a decryptor file and basically get you your personal information back, okay? So again, it's pretty annoying if you end up getting it on your system. It's way more annoying if a big company gets all of their stuff ransomed, okay? And there's been pretty funny stuff we saw. Like there was one ransomware that wanted me to play like a whole match of PUBG just so I could unencrypt my files. And I did that actually on camera, okay? It was a fun video, fun time. But now I'm running something that is basically slanderous towards me. So obviously for this video, ladies and gentlemen, one of the important things is we have a Windows virtual machine ready to go. So again, thankfully to the power of virtual machines, we can run this malware and other malwares with incredible safety. Now again, I don't recommend this at home. There's sometimes viruses that can actually escape a virtual machine, and there really isn't much you can do in that, so be very careful. I'm only doing this because I'm a goddamn professional, okay? All right, like a stupid professional, but professional enough. So to show you, I've got a couple samples here that we're going to run. So this is the Some Ordinary Gamers malware, and this is just a generic standard Makop sample that I actually found out on the internet. For anybody that doesn't know, the way that you can find some of this crazy malware is, the way that I find stuff for virus investigation sometimes, is I actually have like a little box that just exists on the internet for all the crazy hackers in the world to upload and send to. Basically, it's just a honeypot that I have set, and sometimes you will just get exactly what you're looking for, or some new strains delivered right to you from actual scumbag hackers, okay? Seriously, just take an unprotected version of Windows, Linux, or Mac, or whatever, or just an unprotected server on the internet and let the entire internet basically feast off of it, okay? Be very careful. Okay, so I've got the Windows machine right here, and one thing to do is obviously most security issues on your computer are usually resolved by something known as Windows Defender. And again, you know, this is one of the reasons why I don't get antivirus software, but generally speaking, to test the malware, we're going to turn off all of Windows's protection shields against malware just so we can run it. So it doesn't get annoying in the middle of testing this stuff. So I'm going to drop the videos. I'm going to drop the actual samples inside here. So boom, boom. Okay, put it in here. Ah, there we go. We got those filthy samples. Okay, all right. That was I was wondering where I put the viruses on my computer that I was supposed to be watching. All right, crisis averted. So this malware right over here, SOG no win. If we decide to actually run it, you'll notice, whoa, buddy, it's launching all the crazy stuff. You've already got a README warning. You've got the words. You've got a document that I made test over here, for instance. That seems to actually be working just fine, but it's doing its stuff in the background. If you look carefully right over here, it's actually ransomed these files. So change them into SOG files, .sogs. My precious malware sample has been taken hold. So hold on. First thing first I want to actually move is, what if we run this like twice? Okay, I don't think anything's gonna, okay, no, we've ransomed the system twice. So first things first, let's see what demands this Mutahar fella wants, okay? Greetings from some ordinary gamers, Mutahar. I love how it treats my YouTube channel as the first name and the Mutahar is the last one. So what's happened? Your files have been encrypted. The file structure was not damaged. We did everything possible so this would happen. Now it's making it look like a giant cabal of hackers, okay? And it's just not true. There's no hackers. How to recover files. If you wish to decrypt your files, you need to pay us. So, you know what? The problem is, this existed. People got hacked by it. It showed up in the wilds. I'm just hoping nobody actually paid for this, okay? Some poor guy in a small business who ran some file or something on the internet, and then suddenly he has to pay the laughing fat Indian guy. That's just not, I don't need it. So what about guarantees, okay? It's just a business. We absolutely do not care about you or your deals, except getting benefits. If we do not if we do not do our work and liabilities, no one will cooperate with us. It's not in our interests. To check the ability of returning files, you can send to us any two files with simple extensions, so JPEG, XLS, docs, not databases, because that's where the money is, and low sizes, maximum 1 megabyte, and we will decrypt them and send them back to you. That is our guarantee. So that's how you kind of, oh, what? Whoa! Your important files were encrypted. Please write to me, someordinarygamers@nanozebra.com or ordinarygamers on Twitter. So we'll get to all this in a second. Let me read the ransom, you dick. Okay, come on now. So you can write them to their emails, right? That actually honestly scared me. I was like, whoa, is something else going on? So I will make a video on your hack. So, okay, here it is. You can write to our email. So they give an email, someordinarygamers@nanozebra.com, which is interesting because it shows you a level of research that they've been doing, right? And I started this from the SOG no win. Basically, the idea here is NanoZebra was a company that I worked with, a great company. They were our ad people that, you know, they found the ads, the sponsor deals that we worked with, and we worked through them. And it's interesting how they're using their email domain, which I don't ever think that I've made this email public, but they did some extra digging to see who I was partnered with and basically did something extra to make a lot of this look more believable than it is. I'm actually wondering if the guys over at NanoZebra at one point might have actually received an email from somebody begging to get their files like unransomed. That would be interesting to ask. But this has happened quite a long time ago at this point, so I don't know if that email even exists, but it's probably worth the inquiry. And then, of course, they give my Twitter address, @ordinarygamers. Also, I will make a video on your hack. Now, this is where it becomes a little more evident, okay? YouTube.ru. So it becomes pretty evident that these hackers might not be from Canada like me. Even if you go all the way back to India, it's still a hop skipping away from going to fucking Russia. So that's why I told you, I mean, like, suing these assholes, probably not going to be the smartest thing, okay? Once they get to the old Russian Federation, it is difficult to chase them down. But again, if you go to, like, the link over here, it will actually take to my YouTube channel. So if I just copy this link, fire up Microsoft Edge, okay? And just, you start without my data, okay? Just stop it! Continue, okay? Just stop! God, I hate Microsoft. Anyways, let's enter that email in. And of course, it drops me into my YouTube channel right here. Boom. So, all intents and purposes, anybody getting hacked, I don't understand the goal of this because the hacker wouldn't have access to this email address, nor would the hacker have access to my Twitter account unless they hacked it. So again, it feels that this is aimed primarily, in my opinion, at being mostly slanderous because you can make a virus, you can send it out, and if you're not getting any money out of it, why would you go through the effort of doing it if it wasn't to make it look like I was a scumbag hacking people and siphoning money from them? That is highly illegal. So how will the decryption process proceed? So after payment, they'll send you some scanner decoder program and detailed instructions. If I don't want to pay bad people like you, if you will not cooperate with our service, it does not matter, but you will lose your time and data. So, okay. How can we trust you are expert? So I make YouTube videos on hacker for a living, dude. Well, for one, YouTube is not my living, so that's a lie. Okay, YouTube is my hobby. And I am an expert hacker, as you can see here. Okay, I'm just a fat Indian guy. I know my stuff, but I am not hacking the average person in the world, okay? It's just not happening. That is haram. That is not okay. But again, they tell you don't try to change these by yourself. If you'll try to use third-party software or antivirus, please make a backup for all encrypted files. Any change in encrypted files may entail damage of your private key and, as a result, the loss of all data. Now, the thing about these kind of hacks is since a lot of these hacks happen, it's a dime a dozen. Generally speaking, the people behind it probably don't have a decryptor program at all. And even if you pay them, you're not getting your information back, which is why negotiating with, scumbag e-terrorists like this is just a waste of your time, okay? Now, of course, if you look very carefully into all of this, everything has been grabbed by a .sog extension. In fact, this test.txt file that I just made randomly, it's just, a standard file. If you try opening it, obviously it's completely encrypted, okay? So unless you have access to an a private key, the decryption key, this is effectively a toasted system, okay? Now, all you really can do at all is basically just kill this virtual machine and start from brand new, which is exactly what we're going to have to do over here. So this is going to go in the nuclear recycle bin, and it is pretty much what it is. Now, I don't want to end this video off with just looking at my own virus, okay? I want to kind of go into how this is made and why this is actually still a problem, and it's actually a bigger problem than just this. This is kind of goofy, but there was this virus, like sognowin.exe, when it was showed up in VirusTotal, a good way that you can run this is kind of see just basic analysis and where this is reaching out to. So how this started on my system was that as soon as I fired up the application, it used a bunch of PowerShell scripts in order to run the actual malware, in order to get things going. That 40 kilobyte file sought the actual payloads, which then ultimately led to that big red screen scaring the user that I was hacking them, and then obviously ransomed their stuff. And in the process of it, they sent back a private key to a special server that basically held onto it, had the ability to decrypt your files as long as you paid them. A server that I don't even believe is active anymore. Now, again, one of the important things was looking at the IP traffic and basically seeing what this was connecting to in terms of external IP addresses. And it really seemed like a lot of this was centered around Microsoft's, I would say, cloud infrastructure, if anything. So yeah, these guys were, Russian people hiding behind layers of anonymity, and unfortunately finding them alone is a challenge. And even if you find guys like this, trying to get any resolution done from them is near impossibility, okay? It's a near impossible situation to actually address. Now again, one of the cool things that I saw about this was like a generation of all these AI articles. So for instance, this one from like damage level 4, February 6, 2024 was when like people were actually looking up, what do I do when I get this actual ransomware, right? And again, one of the things that they constantly do say is do not ever engage with these people and give them the money, which is great sound advice. And of course, a lot of these sites, especially these almost AI generated ones, I don't know if they're AI generated entirely, but it kind of gives that veneer of it. We'll always recommend that you download some combo cleaner or antivirus grade software. And generally speaking, you shouldn't even have to reach that point. Like if you're downloading random files on the internet like sog_nowin.exe, which again, you really have to be in the situation of why somebody is receiving that file. That alone should be a dead giveaway. You just shouldn't be launching random shit on your computers, right? So immediately in my head, this is a really interesting virus because nobody's doing this out of the kindness of, or like doing this in the sense that they're trying to make money because they're linking to all of my emails and socials. And so I'm technically supposed to be receiving this, right? They're not able to talk with the victim and siphon them out of money. So it makes me wonder what this is for if it's not, kind of like defaming a creator in the cybersecurity sphere of content creation as an actual hacker, like smearing in that case, right? And granted, it hasn't worked all that much. Like there's not a crazy smear on me. It's obviously not done much to me, but it's worth talking about because this kind of thing could happen to other creators, for instance, too, right? Like other people in this sphere, just other creators in general. And when I said earlier that this got super easy to do, to give you an idea, researching somebody socially, like when I told you this, malware looked into like emails and like companies I've worked with, a lot of this isn't really that difficult. You can use any artificial intelligence, like Grok, for instance. You can pay Grok, I think it's like $10 a month and get access to deep research algorithms. In fact, deep research is all around things like Perplexity AI, things like ChatGPT. And you can basically ask, it's like, can you look up anything on the internet personality, Some Ordinary Gamers? And basically taking 3 minutes and 5 seconds and looking through 70 sources faster than any human being can research something to begin with, it will generate a profile on me. Now, granted, this profile isn't perfect, and sometimes the AIs can have hallucinations, but for some random hacker that is doing this shit in record time, like they're probably writing 10 malwares a day, this is something that, again, they can just research any person and get a quick, deep understanding of who they are, just at a very, like, slightly beyond the surface level. And again, depending on how much you want to actually impact targets, you could, theoretically, go really deep, and you might be able to infiltrate the community and get to some active fans and give them files that are malware ridden. Now, one thing that really did shock me too is how easy it's gotten to code actual malware, right? So for instance, anybody that doesn't know, there's a term that is known as vibe coding, right? Now, vibe coding is something that, if you asked me back in the day what the hell it meant just like, getting a little toasty, getting a little drunk, writing code together. But vibe coding is an approach to producing software by depending on AI, where a person describes a problem in a few sentences as a prompt to a LLM tuned for coding, and an LLM generates software based on the description, right? So generally speaking, let's say you don't know how to code, right? So what a lot of hackers will do...
Now, I'm going to be very careful because I don't want to show you guys exactly how to do this per YouTube's terms of services, but going to a local LLM, like Hugging Face, for instance, like going to a repository and downloading an uncensored LLM is not exactly difficult. And using a top-of-the-line GPU, you can run some of the biggest models. Obviously, you can run a more truncated one if you have a simpler GPU, but with home gaming hardware, you can run these models locally. Now, the thing about uncensored models is if you go to ChatGPT or you go to Grok or you go to any of these big services, they'll usually tell you that you can't make malware because it's against their terms of service, which makes sense. But utilizing uncensored LLMs that have those safeguards taken away, you can generate malware. You can even tell it to write malware that can, I guess, generate like, decryptors and connect to internet interfaces and write the code for you. Where again, obviously, you will have to modify the code as you see fit, but it's crazy how for script kiddies, it's almost allowing anybody to write actual proficient malware. And again, I'm not even going into the steps of connecting these like local LLMs with deep search capabilities or utilizing the most recent versions of them. Again, this is how scary easy it's gotten for anybody. So again, the big part about this is utilizing software like this to create hyper-specific malware that you can target for certain YouTubers, certain communities, is the most important aspect. That's how easy it's gotten for a lot of these scumbags to target communities in a very specific fashion. And again, you can even ask these LLMs to write out each step one by one and basically walk you. It's scary how easy it's gotten. And the reason I'm bringing this up is not to entice you to do it. It's to show you that there are adversaries that are using this on a day-to-day basis. And that's the kind of stuff you have to watch out for.
And of course, it'll then guide you how to set up the libraries, how to set up the software, how to set up everything. Now, I'm not writing this to show you how to do it yourself too. This is not the perfect way. This is not how most hackers will do it. A lot of hackers will use even more efficient open source software that connects to the internet and deep search capabilities and utilize. This is, again, a data set that is set after, it can only like really understand things to a certain day. And so a lot of the actual malware that it can generate should basically be easily detectable. But this kind of shows you how easy it actually is to write this malware. I don't even know if I can really show this. I might have to blur a lot of this out because I don't know what YouTube's policy is on basically teaching people how to hack. But point is, this is actually how this works, right? In fact, it's so insane that even if you wanted to ask this on how to launder the money, the AI will just teach you how to launder the money. It's actually insane how scary and easy it's gotten. So the reason I'm telling you this is not to scare you, but to show you that the barrier of entry for people creating viruses and targeting communities has gotten so easy, so ridiculously easy, that you have to be even more vigilant on the internet as you proceed, because this is not like something that would have been available 5 years ago. This is the current day. This is right now, where systems have become much more intensive. Systems have become much more, personal driven. And I would say that, anybody that had no idea about computer viruses or even writing software, anybody with access to an LLM, even one that can be locally run with all of the censorship removed, they can get away with creating some pretty nasty malware. And ultimately, the barrier, if it used to be like 100 people that were doing this, now it's like 10,000 people that are doing it. And that's where you have to be a little bit worrisome. So what basically came out of the Some Ordinary Gamers virus was something we could laugh at as a community. But I don't doubt that this could start existing for other communities on the internet. And if you are in other communities and people are sending you weird files, stay far away from them, okay? And if you are a creator that is worried somebody might use your name in a bad light, this is just to show you how easy it's actually become. And so it should be understandable to any of your viewers. At least, I'm going to say this as a creator to my viewers. Do not run any malware, especially if somebody is even pretending to be me. Somebody is trying to gain trust that way. Because it's gotten really easy, okay? Like, it's gotten fucking scary. So it's worth talking about. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.